The space station called Nexus 7 floated at the edge of known space. It was a place where criminals hid, where mercenaries waited for work, and where laws meant nothing. The air inside smelled like machine oil and cheap alcohol. Broken lights flickered in the hallways. Nobody came here unless they were running from something. Kang Taio sat alone in a dark corner of a cantina. He was 32 years old, but his eyes looked much older. A glass of brown liquid sat in front of him, half empty. He had not shaved in days. His black hair was messy, and a long scar ran down the left side of his face. 5 years ago, he was a soldier. A good one. He led a special unit in the Korean military before humans joined the galactic community. His team was family. Then came the mission that destroyed everything. Bad intelligence. An ambush. He watched his brothers die one by one. He survived. Sometimes he wished he had not. Now he took jobs that nobody else wanted. Dangerous jobs. He did not care about the money. He did not care about anything. People in this part of space called him the Ghost, because he moved like a shadow and felt like he was already dead inside. The cantina door opened. Taiho did not look up. He heard footsteps approaching his table. Light footsteps, graceful. "You are Kan Taiho," a female voice said. It was soft but strong. The one they called a ghost. Taiho finally raised his eyes. He saw something he did not expect. The woman standing before him was not human. Her skin was silver, smooth like polished metal. Faint blue lines ran across her face and arms, glowing softly like gentle lightning beneath her skin. Her eyes were large and violet, filled with intelligence and sadness. She wore a dark cloak with the hood pulled back. She was beautiful. She was also clearly trying to hide who she really was. "I am not taking jobs right now," Taiho said. He looked back at his drink. "I am Queen Valara of the Aetherian Empire," she said quietly. "I need your protection." Taiho laughed. It was a cold, empty sound. A queen. In this garbage station. Talking to me. He shook his head. "Go find someone else." Valara sat down across from him without asking permission. "There is no one else. The Galactic Tribunal has ordered the extinction of my species. They call us dangerous because we can heal others. They fear what they do not understand." Taiho looked at her again. Her hands were folded on the table. They were trembling slightly. "My fleet is destroyed," she continued. "My advisors are dead. Billions of my people hide on scattered colony worlds, waiting to be hunted down. I am the last hope they have. I must reach the sanctuary world of Erythea. There is an ancient machine there that can broadcast a message across the entire galaxy. I can show everyone the truth about what the Tribunal is doing." "And you want me to take you there?" Taiho said. "Yes, I will pay you everything my treasury has left." Taiho was quiet for a long moment. Then he pushed his glass aside and stood up. "I do not do causes anymore," he said. "I do not save people. I do not believe in hope. Find another fool." He started walking toward the door. Behind him, he heard Valara speak again. "You are not the man you pretend to be, Kang Taiho. I can see the ghost of honor still living inside you." He stopped. His hands became fists at his sides. Then he kept walking. That night, Taiho tried to sleep in his small ship. Lee Sora, his tech specialist and only companion, was working on repairs in the engine room. She was a genius with machines and computers, sharp-tongued, and always ready to make fun of him. She was also the only person in the galaxy who understood him. An explosion woke them both. Red alarm lights filled the ship. Sora's voice came through the speaker. "Taiho, weapons fire on the station. Multiple hostiles." Taiho grabbed his plasma pistol and ran to the docking port. Through the window, he could see chaos. People were running and screaming. Armed soldiers in black armor were pushing through the crowd. They wore the symbol of the Galactic Tribunal. Assassins. Taeho knew he should stay on the ship. This was not his fight. Let the Queen die. Let the galaxy burn. He did not care. But then he saw her. Queen Valara was not running. She stood in the middle of the chaos, her hands raised. Silver light poured from her palms. She was protecting people. A group of humans, including a small child, huddled behind her. The assassins fired at her again and again, but she created a shield of light to block their shots. She was burning herself out to save strangers. One of the assassins got a clear shot. A plasma bolt hit Valara in the shoulder. She fell to her knees. The shield flickered. The child screamed. Something inside Taeho broke open. He did not think. He did not plan. He moved. The first assassin died before he knew Taeho was there. The second turned just in time to see a fist smash into his helmet. Taeho took his rifle and used it to kill the third and fourth. He moved like water, like wind, like death itself. 5 years of pain and guilt became fuel for his body. In less than a minute. Every assassin was dead. Taeho stood in the center of the carnage, breathing hard. Blood that was not his covered his hands. He looked down at Queen Valara. She was holding her wounded shoulder, silver blood leaking between her fingers. But she was smiling at him. "I knew it," she whispered. "I knew you would come." Taeho said nothing. He bent down and lifted her in his arms. She weighed almost nothing. He carried her back to his ship. Sora was waiting at the airlock, her eyes wide. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We are taking her to Arethea," Taeho said. Sora stared at him. "The sanctuary world? That is in the heart of tribunal-controlled space. That is suicide. Then we die." Taeho walked past her into the ship. "Plot a course." Sora opened her mouth to argue. Then she saw the look in his eyes. It was something she had not seen in 5 years. Purpose. She sighed and went to the cockpit. "I hate you sometimes." The ship detached from Nexus 7 and jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, the station fell into chaos. Far away, on a massive warship, General Mordek received a report. The Queen had escaped. A human had helped her. Mordek was a huge creature with gray skin, cybernetic eyes, and a body more machine than flesh. He had killed millions. He felt nothing. One primitive ape thinks he can defy the tribunal? Mordek smiled, and it was a terrible thing to see. Let him come. I will make an example of them both. The Queen will die screaming, and her human pet will watch before I end him. He turned to his officers. Find them. Hunt them. I want them alive if possible. Dead if necessary. The hunt had begun. The ship was called the Silent Wind. It was old but fast, held together by Sora's genius and stubbornness. For 3 days, it carried them through the dark spaces between stars. Running from the tribunal's hunters. Queen Valara lay in the small medical bay. The plasma wound on her shoulder was healing slowly. Her silver skin had turned pale, and the blue lights under her skin were dim. She slept most of the time, recovering her strength. Taeho checked on her often. He told himself it was just because she was the mission. He was protecting cargo, nothing more. But Sora noticed how long he stayed by her bed. She noticed how he watched the Queen's breathing to make sure it was steady. She said nothing. She just smiled to herself and kept working on the engines. On the 4th day, Valara was strong enough to walk. She found Taeho in the cockpit, staring at the stars through the main window. She sat in the co-pilot's chair beside him. You have not slept, she said. I do not sleep much. Bad dreams? Taeho was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. Valara looked at him with those violet eyes. Will you tell me about them? No one had ever asked him that. No one in 5 years. Taeho did not know why. but he started talking. He told her about his unit, about the ambush, about holding his best friend as he died, watching the light leave his eyes, about surviving when he should have died with them. When he finished, Valara was crying. Silver tears rolled down her silver cheeks. "Why are you crying?" Taiho asked. "It is not your pain. Pain shared is pain halved," she said. "My people believe this. When we heal others, we take their suffering into ourselves. It is not a burden. It is a gift. That sounds like a terrible gift." Valara smiled sadly. "Perhaps. But it is who we are. It is why the tribunal fears us. We can heal any species in the galaxy. Imagine if every soldier could be healed in seconds. Every sick child could be saved. The tribunal controls the galaxy through medicine and technology. We threaten their power, so they want to kill you all. Yes, they say we are genetically unstable, that we are dangerous. It is a lie. We are peaceful. We have never started a war in our entire history." Valara looked at her hands. "But we will fight to survive. Even gentle creatures have teeth when they must." Taiho looked at her differently after that. She was not just a queen. She was a person carrying the weight of billions on her slim shoulders. And she did it with grace. The next stop was a refueling station on a small moon. It was supposed to be quick and quiet. It was neither. When they landed, they found the station crowded with refugees. Hundreds of aliens of many species filled the hallways. They had fled from tribunal attacks on their home worlds. They had nowhere else to go. A young Korean woman was working among them. She wore simple medical clothes and moved from patient to patient, treating wounds, giving medicine, offering comfort. Her name tag said Park Juno. So Ra went to buy fuel. Taiho stayed near the ship, watching for danger. Valara walked into the refugee crowd. "Your Majesty," Taiho called after her. "You should stay hidden." But Valara was already kneeling beside a wounded alien child. She placed her hand on the child's head. Blue light flowed from her palm. The child's wounds closed. The child opened its eyes and smiled. The refugees saw. They began to gather around her. Whispers spread. "Queen Valara, the Aetherian healer." Hope. Taiho felt the danger before he saw it. He had spent too many years as a soldier not to recognize the moment. Before violence. 3 bounty hunters appeared from the crowd. They wore heavy armor and carried big guns. One of them pointed at Valara. "The tribunal is paying 1 billion credits for the queen," he announced. "Dead or alive. Everyone else, get out of our way." The refugees scattered. Screaming filled the station. Taiho drew his pistol, but he was too far away. He would never reach Valara in time. Then something unexpected happened. Park Juno, the young medic, stepped between the bounty hunters and the queen. She was small. She had no weapon, but she did not move. "You will not touch her," Juno said. Her voice was shaking, but her feet were planted firm. The lead bounty hunter laughed. "Little human girl, do you know who we are? We have killed hundreds of people. Then I will be number 101. But I will not step aside." Taiho moved. He crossed the distance in heartbeats. His first shot took the lead bounty hunter in the neck. The second shot hit another in the chest. The third hunter turned to face him, but Taiho was already there. He grabbed the hunter's gun arm, twisted, and broke it. Then he put a bullet through his helmet. 3 bounty hunters. 3 seconds. All dead. Juno stood frozen, staring at the bodies. Then she looked at Taiho with wide eyes. "Who are you?" She breathed. "Nobody important. We need to leave. Now." They ran back to the ship. Sora had the engines already warming up. As they took off, Valara turned to Juno. "You risked your life for me. A stranger." Juno shrugged, still shaking. "I am a doctor. I protect people. It is what I do. We could use a doctor, Taiho said quietly. He did not look at anyone when he said it. Juno thought for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, I will come with you. Someone needs to keep you all alive. Sora grinned. I like her already. They flew for another week. The Tribunal's hunters were everywhere. Twice they barely escaped patrol ships. Once they had to hide inside an asteroid field for 3 days while a search fleet passed overhead. During those long days, something changed between Taiho and Valara. They talked more. They ate meals together. She asked him about Earth, about Korea, about human culture. He asked her about her homeworld, about her family, about being a queen. One night, Taiho woke from a nightmare screaming. He had not screamed from dreams in years. The shame burned worse than the fear. He found Valara sitting outside his door. She had heard him. She had been waiting. Let me help, she said. No, your healing hurts you. Everything worthwhile has a cost. She reached out and touched his temples. Blue light filled his vision. He felt warmth spread through his mind, washing away the images of blood and death. When she finished, she collapsed against the wall. Silver blood leaked from her nose. Taiho caught her before she hit the floor. Why did you do that? I did not ask you to suffer for me. Valara looked up at him and smiled weakly. A queen who cannot suffer for those who protect her does not deserve her crown. Taiho held her until she fell asleep. He did not move for hours. Sora found them there in the morning and pretended she had not seen anything. The next day, they received terrible news. Sora found the communication signal hidden in a routine broadcast. General Mordak had predicted their route. A massive blockade was waiting at the entrance to the Earthian system. Hundreds of warships. Thousands of fighters. There was no way through. SOR. It displayed the tactical map. The blockade looked like a wall of death. Our chances of survival are less than 3%, she said. And that is being generous. Juno looked at Taiho. What do we do? Valara stood beside him, still weak, but standing. She did not say anything. She just waited. Taiho stared at the map for a long time. Then he pointed at a dark region of space marked with danger symbols. What is that? He asked. Sora's face went pale. The Stygian Passage. An asteroid field filled with wreckage from ancient wars. Gravity is unstable. No ship has survived the crossing in 500 years. No ship until now. Taiho looked at each of them. We go through the passage. We bypass the blockade. We reach Earthia. That is insane, Sora said. Yes, Taiho agreed. It is, but I am done running. I am done hiding. If we are going to die, we die moving forward. Valara took his hand. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was strong. Together, she said. Taiho nodded. Together. The silent wind changed course toward the Stygian Passage and the impossible journey ahead. The Stygian Passage was worse than the legend said. Massive asteroids tumbled through space, crashing into each other with enough force to destroy cities. Old warships from forgotten wars floated among the rocks, their hulls torn open, their crews long dead. Gravity shifted without warning, pulling the silent wind in random directions. Sora sat at her control station, her fingers flying across the keyboards. Every few seconds, she had to adjust their path to avoid death. Sweat ran down her face. Her eyes never blinked. Left. Hard left. She shouted. Taiho pulled the controls. The ship twisted sideways. A massive rock passed so close that they could see the cracks in its surface through the window. Juno held onto her seat, her face green with fear. How long is this passage? At current speed, 6 hours, Sora said through her teeth. If we survive 6 hours, we are through. An asteroid hit their left wing. The ship shook violently. Warning lights filled the cockpit. Sora cursed in 3 languages and ran toward the engine room. "I need to seal the breach," she yelled as she left. Taiho flew alone now. His hands were steady on the controls. His eyes tracked every moving rock. This was what he was made for. This was war. And Kang Taiho had never lost a war. Queen Valara sat beside him. She was very weak now. Her silver skin had become almost gray. The blue lights under her skin barely glowed. "You should rest," Taiho said without looking at her. "I will rest when we are through. You used too much of your healing power on me. You are dying." Valara was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke softly. "Yes, I am dying. I have been dying since before we met." Taiho's hands froze on the controls for half a second. "What?" "Every time an Aetherian uses the healing gift, it costs life force. I have been using my gift for years to save others. I gave too much. I have perhaps 2 weeks left, maybe 3. The ship was silent, except for the hum of engines and the distant sound of Sora working on repairs. Taiho's chest felt tight. "Why? Did you not tell me? Would it have changed anything?" Taiho thought about it. No. He would still have helped her. He would still have fought for her, but knowing made everything hurt more. "You wasted your life on me," he said. His voice was rough. "When you healed my mind, you shortened your time." Valara reached over and touched his arm. Her fingers were ice cold. "I did not waste anything. You were worth saving. Your soul needed healing more than your body. I could see the pain eating you alive. I could not watch you suffer. I am a mercenary, a killer, a nobody. You are the man who carried a wounded queen to safety. You are the man who killed assassins to save strangers. You are the man who agreed to fly through an impossible passage because running was not good enough." Valara smiled. "You are everything but nobody." An alarm screamed. Gravity shifted hard to the right. Taiho fought the controls as the ship was pulled toward a spinning chunk of ancient warship. Metal scraped metal as they passed. The hull groaned in protest. From the engine room, Sora's voice came through the speaker. "We lost engine 2. I am trying to fix it, but we are leaking fuel. How much time do we have?" "Maybe 2 hours of flight. Maybe less. 2 hours. The passage would take 6. The math was simple. They were going to die here. Juno came into the cockpit. "What can I do?" "Pray," Taiho said. "If you believe in anything, pray." But Taiho did not pray. He flew. He pushed the ship harder than it was meant to go. He found paths between the asteroids that should not exist. His mind became empty of everything except the next second, the next turn, the next narrow escape from death. Time lost meaning. Fuel dropped. Engine power fell. One by one, systems began to fail. "We are not going to make it," Sora's voice said. She sounded defeated for the first time since Taiho had known her. "We will make it. Taiho, the numbers are wrong all the time. We will make it." He did not know if he believed it, but he kept flying. Then, suddenly, the asteroids began to thin. The gravity became stable. Through the viewport, they could see open space ahead. Stars. Safety. The exit of the Stygian Passage. SOR appeared in the doorway, covered in oil and burns. "Did we? Are we?" "We made it," Juno whispered. Valara closed her eyes and let out a long breath. "Thank you," she said to no one in particular. Or maybe to everyone. Taiho slowed the ship and let his hands drop from the controls. They were shaking. He had not noticed until now. For a moment, there was peace. They had done the impossible. They had survived. Then the sensors screamed again. General Mordak's flagship dropped out of hyperspace directly in front of them. It was massive, black, and shaped like a blade meant to cut through worlds. Behind it, more ships appeared, dozens of them. Mordek had followed them through the passage. He had followed them through the passage. He had sacrificed ships and crews to do it. The communication screen flickered. Mordek's face appeared. His gray skin was stretched over metal bones. His eyes glowed red with cybernetic hatred. "Did you really think you could escape me?" His voice was deep, like rocks grinding together. "I lost 12 ships in that passage. 12. But it was worth it to see the look on your face." Taiho stood slowly. His whole body ached. His hands still trembled. But his voice was steady. "Let the queen go. Take me instead." "I am the one who killed your assassins." Mordek laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Brave little human, but no. You both die today. The queen will be executed publicly to show the galaxy what happens to those who resist. And you?" His smile widened. "You will watch her die before I end you." Slowly, Taiho looked at the enemy fleet. There was no escape, no clever plan, no miracle path through danger. This was the end. He turned to look at Vilara. She was sitting tall in her seat, her chin raised. Even weak, even dying, she looked like a queen. "It has been an honor," he said to her. "The honor was mine." Taiho activated the communication system. He sent a message on all frequencies, open for anyone to hear. "My name is Kang Taiho. I am a human from Earth. I am protecting Queen Vilara of the Aetherian Empire. The tribunal wants to kill her because she tried to save innocent lives. They call her species dangerous because they can heal the sick. I am asking anyone who hears this, is that the galaxy you want to live in?" Mordek snarled. "Shut down that transmission." "I am going to fight," Taiho continued. "I am one ship against a fleet. I will probably die. But I will not surrender. I will not kneel. If this is my end, I will meet it standing." He cut the communication. Mordek's fleet began a move toward them. Then something happened that nobody expected. New ships dropped out of hyperspace behind the silent wind. Then more. Then more. Human ships, mercenary vessels, pirate cruisers, old military ships that should have been in junkyards. They had heard Taiho's broadcast. They had answered. Zoar stared at the sensor display. "Taiho, there are over 100 ships." A voice came through the radio. It was rough, tired, but fierce. "Ghost, this is Captain No from the Starbreaker. We heard your call. We are not letting you have all the fun." Another voice joined. "This is the Iron Tiger. We are with you. More voices, more ships, humanity's forgotten soldiers. Criminals, outcasts, the ones nobody believed in. They had come to fight." Juno was crying. How did this happen?" Taiho shook his head. He did not understand it either. Vilara touched his shoulder. "You inspired them. You reminded them what they could be." Mordek's face appeared on the screen again. For the first time, he looked uncertain. "This changes nothing. You are still outnumbered. You will still die." Taiho smiled. It was a real smile, the first one in years. "Maybe," he said. "But you will remember us. Come and take her if you can." The battle for Arithia was about to begin. Space exploded into fire. The human fleet charged forward, their ships old and beaten, but their spirits burning bright. The tribunal ships opened fire with weapons designed to destroy worlds. Plasma beams cut through the darkness. Missiles flew in every direction. Ships died on both sides. Taiho watched the battle through the viewport. He could not help up there. He was not a fleet commander, but he had another mission. "Sora, can you get us to the planet's surface?" Sora was already plotting a course. The battle is providing cover. Most of their attention is on the fleet. If we move fast, we can slip through. "Do it." The silent wind dove toward Arithia. The planet was beautiful from space, covered in blue oceans and green forests. Ancient ruins dotted its surface, the remains of a civilization long gone. Somewhere down there was the broadcasting array that could save Valara's people. Enemy fighters noticed them. 3 fast ships broke from the battle to chase. Their weapons locked on. "We have company," Juno called out. Taiho took the controls. He had no weapons left. The ship was too damaged to fight. But he could still fly. He dove into Erythea's atmosphere. The ship shook as fire wrapped around the hull. The enemy fighters followed. Taiho weaved through clouds and mountains, using the terrain to block their shots. "Taiho, the ship cannot take much more of this," Sora yelled. Just a little further. He spotted what he needed. A narrow canyon with walls of solid rock. He flew straight into it. The canyon twisted and turned, barely wide enough for the silent wind. The enemy fighters followed, but they were not as skilled. One hit a canyon wall and exploded. The second tried to pull up too late and crashed. The third was more careful, slowing down to navigate safely. Taiho flipped the ship around, flying backward, and fired the last working thruster directly at the following ship. The blast of heat and energy slammed into the fighter, sending it spinning into the rocks. He spun the ship back around and flew out of the canyon. "Did you just fly backward through a canyon?" Juno asked. Her voice was very small. "Do not recommend it." They landed near the ancient temple complex. The building was massive, made of white stone that glowed faintly in the sunlight. Symbols were carved into every surface. This was a holy place for the Aetherians, built thousands of years ago. The broadcasting array was inside. Valara could barely walk. Taiho carried her on his back while Juno watched for enemies. Sora stayed with the ship, trying to repair it enough for escape. They entered the temple. The halls were dark and dusty. Nobody had walked here in centuries. Their footsteps echoed in the silence. "How do you know the array still works?" Juno asked. "Aetherian technology lasts forever," Valara said weakly. "It draws power from the stars. As long as the stars burn, the array will work." They climbed stairs, crossed bridges over deep pits, past statues of ancient Aetherian heroes. Valara's eyes glowed when she saw them. This was her history, her heritage, the legacy she was trying to save. Finally, they reached the central chamber. It was a huge room with a high ceiling. In the center stood a crystal pillar that reached up to the sky. Lights moved inside the crystal, alive and waiting. The broadcasting array. Valara slid off Taiho's back. She took a step toward the array. Then another. Each step cost her strength she did not have. "You can do this," Taiho said. "You are a queen." She smiled at him over her shoulder. "I am not just a queen anymore. I am something more. Because of you." A sound came from behind them. Heavy footsteps. The crash of metal. Taiho spun around. General Mordek stood at the entrance to the chamber. He was huge, almost 3 meters tall. His body was more machine than flesh. His arms had been replaced with weapons. His eyes burned red. Behind him stood a dozen Death Heralds, his elite soldiers. They were cyborgs, too, their bodies rebuilt for killing. They felt no pain. They knew no mercy. "Did you think you could reach here without me following?" Mordek's voice filled the chamber. "I have been hunting you across the galaxy. Did you really believe walls would stop me?" Taiho pushed Juno behind him. "Get Valara to the array. I will hold them. You will hold us?" Mordek laughed. "You can barely stand. Your body is broken. Your ship is ruined. What can one human do against the power of the tribunal?" Taiho picked up a fallen ceremonial spear from the floor. It was Aetherian, made of crystal and silver. It hummed with ancient power. "Let us find out." Mordek gestured to his Death Heralds. "Kill the medic. Capture the queen. Leave the human to me." The battle began. The Death Heralds moved fast, but Juno, was faster. She pulled Valara behind a pillar as plasma fire cut through the air. Taiho attacked the heralds before they could reach the women. He was not as strong as them. He was not as fast. His ribs were still cracked from earlier battles. Every breath hurt, but he was human. And humans did not quit. He killed the first herald with a thrust through the neck. The second grabbed his arm and squeezed. Bones cracked. Taiho screamed but used his other hand to drive the spear through the herald's eye. More heralds attacked. Taiho became a blur of motion, using every trick he had learned in decades of combat. He dodged when he could. He took hits when he could not. Blood ran from a dozen wounds. One by one, the heralds fell. When the last one died, Taiho stood in a circle of bodies. He was bleeding badly. His left arm hung useless at his side. One eye was swelling shut, but he was still standing. General Mordek stepped over the corpses of his soldiers. He did not look angry. He looked impressed. "Remarkable," he said. "You killed 12 of my best warriors, alone, with a broken body." He drew a massive blade from his back. "Perhaps humans are not as pathetic as I thought. It will be an honor to destroy you." Mordek attacked. The general was faster than anything Taiho had ever faced. His blade was a blur. Taiho blocked the first strike, but the force sent him flying into a pillar. The impact cracked the stone. Mordek followed, swinging again. Taiho rolled aside. The blade cut through where he had been, leaving a deep gash in the floor. "You cannot win," Mordek said. "I have been enhanced by the greatest scientists in the galaxy. I have killed thousands." "What are you?" Taiho spat blood. "I am the man who is going to stop you." He attacked. His spear found gaps in Mordek's armor, drawing sparks. Mordek grunted in surprise. No one had wounded him in years, but Mordek was stronger. He caught Taiho's spear and snapped it in half. Then he grabbed Taiho by the throat and lifted him off the ground. "Any last words, human?" Taiho looked past Mordek. He saw Valara reaching the crystal pillar. Her hands touched its surface. Light began to spread through the array. He smiled. "Yeah," he said. "Look behind you." Mordek turned. He saw the array activating. He roared in fury and threw Taiho aside. But it was too late. Valara's voice filled the chamber, amplified by the ancient technology. It spread beyond the temple, beyond the planet, across the stars. Every ship, every station, every world with a receiver heard her message. "I am Queen Valara of the Etherian Empire. The Galactic Tribunal has ordered our extinction because we can heal others. We are not a threat. We only want peace. Please, hear the truth." Mordek lunged toward her, his blade raised to strike her down. Taiho rose, bones broken, blood pouring from his wounds. His body screamed at him to stop. He ignored it. He picked up the broken half of his spear. He ran. He put himself between the blade and the queen. The sword went through his shoulder. Instead of her heart, Taiho grabbed Mordek's arm and held on. The general tried to pull free, but Taiho would not let go. "You will have to go through me," Taiho said. Blood filled his mouth. "Then I will." Mordek pulled the blade out and raised it again. Taiho drove the broken spear up through Mordek's throat. The crystal point punched through metal and flesh and bone. It emerged from the back of the general's skull. Mordek's red eyes flickered. "How?" he whispered. "You are nothing. You are human." Taiho fell to his knees. "That is why." Mordek collapsed. The greatest general of the tribunal died on the floor of an ancient temple, killed by a wounded mercenary who refused to stop fighting. Valara finished her message. The array went dark. She turned and saw Taiho lying in a pool of blood. "No," she breathed. She ran to him and fell beside him. No, no, no. Stay with me, Taiho. Stay with me. Juno was already running toward them, medical supplies in her hands. Above them, in space, the tribunal fleet was breaking apart. Ships were surrendering. The human fleet was winning, but none of that mattered to the dying man on the floor. Valara took his face in her hands. You saved me. You saved everyone. You cannot die now. Taiho tried to smile. It came out as a grimace. Worth it, he said. You were worth it. His eyes closed. Valara screamed. It was a sound of pure grief, tearing from her throat like a physical thing. She pressed her hands against Taiho's chest, trying to feel his heartbeat. It was there, but weak. So very weak. He is still alive. Juno dropped beside them, her medical kit spilling open. But barely. I need to stop the bleeding. Use my power. Valara grabbed Juno's hands. Take it. Channel it through yourself. Heal him. I do not know how. I will show you. Please. I cannot do it alone. I am too weak. But together, we might save him. Juno looked at the dying man on the floor. The man who had protected them all, who had fought an army alone, who had given everything for a queen he barely knew. Tell me what to do, she said. Valara placed one hand on Taiho's heart. She placed her other hand on Juno's shoulder. The connection formed instantly, a bridge of silver light between the three of them. Pain flooded through Juno. She felt Taiho's wounds as if they were her own. Broken ribs. Torn muscles. The deep stab wound in his shoulder. Internal bleeding that would kill him in minutes. She also felt Valara's power. It was like standing in sunlight, warm and pure and full of life. The Aetherian queen poured the last of her strength into the healing. Her body trembled. Silver blood ran from her nose and eyes. You are killing yourself. Juno cried. Then I die saving the man who saved me. There are worse ways to go. But Juno was a doctor. She understood how bodies worked, human and alien alike. She took the power Valara was giving and directed it precisely where it was needed. She closed the internal wounds first, stopping the bleeding. Then she repaired the damaged organs. Then she sealed the external cuts. It should have been impossible. Aetherian healing was for Aetherians. Human medicine was for humans. Nobody had ever combined them before. But desperation creates miracles. Taiho's heart grew stronger. His breathing deepened. Color returned to his face. Valara collapsed. The light faded. Her eyes closed. Juno caught her before she hit the ground. Now she had two unconscious patients and no help. Sora! She screamed into her communicator. I need help, now. Minutes felt like hours. Then Sora burst into the chamber, followed by human soldiers from the fleet above. The battle was won. Tribunal ships were surrendering across the system. Help had finally arrived. Medical teams swarmed around. Valara and Taiho. They were loaded onto stretchers and carried to a ship with proper medical facilities. Juno walked beside them, refusing to leave. She had held death back with her bare hands. She was not going to lose them now. For 3 days, Taiho lay in a coma. His body had been pushed far beyond human limits. Every doctor who examined him said the same thing. He should be dead. The wounds he had suffered were not survivable. But Kang Taiho had never cared much about what should be. On the 3rd day, he opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was a white ceiling. The second thing he saw was Valara sitting beside his bed. She looked different. Her silver skin was bright again. The blue lights beneath her skin glowed strong. She was smiling. You are alive, he said. His voice was rough from disuse. So are you? Against all odds. I thought you were dying. Valara took his hand. Her fingers were warm now, not ice cold like before. I was. But when I gave my power to heal you, something strange happened. Juno combined my healing with human medicine. The energy flowed through you and then came back to me, changed, stronger. Taiho frowned. I do not understand. Neither do we really. The doctors are calling it a miracle. But I think it is something else. Valara's violet eyes sparkled with tears. I think you gave me something too. When I was healing you, I felt your will. Your refusal to die. Your stubborn human heart refusing to stop beating. That energy merged with mine. It saved us both. Taiho stared at her. Then he laughed. It hurt his ribs, but he laughed anyway. So we healed each other. Yes, we did. Juno appeared in the doorway. She was crying and smiling at the same time. He is awake. He is really awake? I am really awake, Taiho said. Stop crying. Doctors should not cry. Doctors cry when they perform miracles. Juno ran over and hugged him carefully, mindful of his injuries. You died, you know? Your heart stopped for almost a minute. I had to shock it 3 times. Sorry for the trouble. Do not apologize. Just never do it again. Sora leaned against the doorframe, her arms crossed. Her eyes were red, but she would never admit she had been crying. So, she said, what now? The galaxy is in chaos. The tribunal is falling apart. Aetherians are coming out of hiding. Everyone wants to talk to the Queen and her famous human protector. Valara looked at Taiho. What do you want? It was a simple question with a complicated answer. For 5 years, Taiho had wanted nothing. He had been empty, just going through the motions of being alive. Now he felt full. He felt purpose. He felt something he thought he had lost forever. I want to stay, he said. If you will have me. Valara's smile could have lit up a galaxy. I will have you. As my protector. My advisor. My friend. She squeezed his hand. Whatever you want to be. How about Royal Champion? Sora suggested. It sounds impressive. Very heroic. Juno nodded enthusiastically. I like it. Kang Taiho, Royal Champion of the Aetherian Empire. Taiho groaned. That sounds ridiculous. That sounds perfect, Valara said. And so it was decided. 6 months later, Queen Valara stood before the new Galactic Assembly. The old tribunal had been dissolved. Its leaders faced justice for their crimes. A new era of cooperation was beginning, one where species worked together instead of dominating each other. Valara addressed the representatives of 100 worlds. Her voice was strong. Her silver skin glowed with health. Behind her stood Kang Taiho, dressed in the uniform of the Royal Champion. He looked uncomfortable in the formal clothes, but he stood straight and proud. The old ways brought us war, fear, and nearly brought us extinction, Valara said. But in our darkest hour, hope came from an unexpected place. A human mercenary answered a queen's call for help. He fought impossible odds. He sacrificed everything. He showed us that compassion and courage have no species, no planet, no limit. She turned to look at Taiho. The whole assembly followed her gaze. When I appointed Kang Taiho as Royal Champion, some questioned my choice. They asked why an Aetherian queen would give such honor to a human. My answer is simple, because when fate demanded my surrender, he taught me that defiance is the most human trait of all. She paused. And perhaps the most universal. The assembly erupted in applause. Representatives from dozens of species stood to honor the man who had changed history. Taiho said nothing. He never knew what to say at these things. But for the first time in years, he stood in the light without shame. He met the eyes of the crowd without looking away. He was not a ghost anymore. After the ceremony, Sora found him on a balcony overlooking the capital city. She handed him a drink and leaned against the railing beside him. You know she loves you, right? Sora said. Taeho choked on his drink. What? Valara. She loves you. Everyone can see it. You are the only one who pretends not to notice. I am her protector. Nothing more. Sora snorted. Keep telling yourself that. She patted his shoulder. Just do not wait too long. Even queens get tired of waiting. She walked away, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Juno joined him a few minutes later. She was now the head of a new medical program combining human and Aetherian healing techniques. Her work was saving thousands of lives. Thank you, she said. For what? For letting me come with you. For giving me a chance to be part of something bigger. Juno smiled. You changed my life. You saved my life, Taeho pointed out. We are even, not even close. Juno hugged him. You gave me purpose. You showed me what one person can do when they refuse to give up. I will never forget that. She left him alone again. The sun was setting. Orange and pink light painted the sky. Footsteps approached from behind. May I join you? Valara asked. Taeho nodded. She stood beside him, their shoulders almost touching. It is strange, she said. When we first met, I was a dying queen with no hope. Now I lead a rebuilding empire. And you were a man running from his past. Now you are a hero. I am not a hero. The galaxy disagrees. Taeho shook his head. I am just a man who met the right queen at the right time. You did the hard work. The speeches. The diplomacy. The healing. Valara turned to face him. Her violet eyes were soft. Will you stay with me, Taeho? Not just as a champion. Not just as a protector. As more? Taeho's heart beat faster. He looked at this impossible woman. This queen who had seen his broken soul and called it worth saving. She had given him back his honor. His purpose. His life. How could he say anything but yes? I will stay, he said. For as long as you want me. Valara's smile was brighter than any star. Forever then. She took his hand. They stood together on the balcony, watching the sunset behind them. Sora and Juno watched from a window. About time, Sora muttered. Juno wiped happy tears from her eyes. Shut up. It is romantic. It is nauseating. You are smiling. I am not. But she was. Somewhere in the galaxy, new stories were beginning. Stories of humans and aliens working together. Stories of healing and hope. Stories inspired by a mercenary who became a champion and a queen, who refused to let fate win. The universe was vast and full of darkness. But it was also full of light, if you knew where to look. And sometimes, all it took to find the light was one person who refused to stop fighting. One human. One queen. And a love that crossed the stars.